Aloha, Scott Sommer here, holistic healer of 20 years. I'm here to talk to you about Asian medicine and the tongue. So most of the time in our society, it's so strange to stick out your tongue because it's not really proper in our culture, especially, in the US. But I'll tell you that the tongue will tell you so much more about your body if you just pay attention to your tongue on a daily basis. So let me tell you what to look for. So in Asian medicine, one of the things that they had to rely on is observation. It's an observational science and medicine. So it's really an art and a science combined, which sets it apart and why it's been around for at least 5,000 years. So your tongue really the first thing you want to look at as far as the tongue is really the color. So the color of what we call the body of the tongue should be a pinkish red. Now, many times when the tongue gets too pale, then that's a sign of anemia, or what we call blood deficiency. Now, blood deficiency is kind of a deep level of exhaustion, of not having enough red blood cells and good iron and whatnot, and folic acid and B12. So that's a bigger category when we say blood deficiency in Asian medicine versus when we talk about anemia in Western medicine, which is kind of a smaller category. So that's the first thing, is the color. Now, as we age, our tongue tends to get dry and red, or even crimson, purple. So that isn't good, because that means that's a sign of a hormone deficiency. Many times this happens for women when they go through menopause. They get this red, tongue. And a crimson tongue or purple tongue is a sign of blood stagnation. Once again, the term blood means, how well your blood or fluids move in the body. So we know that a blood stagnation is dangerous because this means a person doesn't exercise enough, that they're heading towards blood clots or even a stroke. So it's really important also to look underneath the tongue. There are two veins underneath the tongue that will indicate they should be like a light blue, but not purple. And so many times those veins become purple in color, which is a very dangerous sign that people's arteries are clogging and that could literally lead to a stroke. The last part to the tongue is, there's two other parts actually to the tongue, and that is the coating on the tongue. So we want the coating to be light and white. That's ideal. Not yellow or brown or black. So black coating is typically a sign of cancer. And or if you're eating, drinking coffee, that's a whole nother story. So then the other part is when the coating becomes yellow in color, depending on where it is on the tongue, because the tongue has a map of different areas of the body. The tip of the tongue represents the upper body, like the lung and the heart, and the sinuses and the brain. And then the middle of the tongue represents digestion, almost like we could kind of divide the body up. And then the back of the tongue would represent the kidney and the intestines and the bladder. Now on the side of the tongue, it represents the liver. Much like, we know that our liver lives on the side of our body, the ribs, same kind of concept. So that's really important as to where things are located. For instance, if you had a dark yellow coating on the back of your tongue, then that would be something to do with the lower body, which we call the lower jiao. So all this is really important because the tongue literally can change on a daily basis, especially the coating. Now there's another piece of the tongue, and that's cracks. So if you have cracks that are deep, dry cracks, almost like in a desert when there's no water to the ground and it dries out, or like a plant in your house, then that's a really bad sign. Because that's a sign you're not drinking enough water, you don't have enough fluids and enough vegetables to hydrate your body and your cells. So that's a sign that you're actually literally aging faster than you should. And it's also a sign of possible food allergies and or parasites. The other thing that can happen is dots on the tongue, the papillae is what we call them, actually on the tongue that give you taste buds. They can actually change color. They can either become dark red or they stand out more, as almost like a mole would stand out on your skin. And this is also called heat in the body, or possibly a deep deficiency. So these are things to be aware of. I hope you find this interesting, but remember that one of the things that's so unique about Asian medicine and the training that I have is that if you don't fully understand Asian medicine, then it's really hard to understand the body, because it's so great. Once you understand Asian medicine, you understand the body needs balance. And all you need to do, basically, if the body is too hot, like the tongue we talked about earlier, or if it's too cold, we just need to warm it up or cool it off. If it's too deficient, we need to increase it, like a battery needs to be charged. Or if it's too hot, like an overheated car or engine, we need to cool it off. So there are foods, there are herbs, there's lifestyle, and there's exercises that all, including therapies, that all have to do with a way to improve the body, to find balance, so that people can live a long and healthy life for life. So with that said, I invite you to subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel. It's always great to spend time with you, and I hope to see you soon.